So, exactly what have you been reaping as of late? Have you been getting the things that you want out of the efforts that you're putting in? Maybe you have big and lofty goals for yourself. Maybe you are trying to write $150,000 of new business commission this year, or maybe you're trying to write $250,000 new business commission this year, maybe even more. You have a goal for yourself, but are you actually sowing what you need to sow in order to reap what you're hoping to reap? See, on this podcast episode, we're going to be talking about a few different things specifically, but primarily and predominantly, we're going to talk about the effort that you're putting into achieving the results that you want. Because it's one thing to actually create a goal. It's another thing to create an actual standard of operating procedures in order to achieve that particular goal. And if you're not achieving it, if you're not reaping it, it's because you weren't sowing the things that need to be done. How do you do that? Well, that's what we're going to be talking about on today's podcast episode. Stay tuned. Hey, everybody. Welcome to the Millionaire Insurance Producer Podcast. My name is Charles Specht, and I'm your host, and I am grateful that you are listening. Thank you for that. Today, as I mentioned in the intro, we're going to talk about the basic principle of sowing and reaping. Sowing and reaping. It has tons of application in things like spiritual life, just normal life in regards to your relationships, parenting, in the workplace, in regards to athletics and efforts and clubs, basically anything that you can put your hand to. The actual aspect of sowing and reaping has tremendous application in all that we do. Now, because we're focused on career specifically and the insurance business predominantly here on this podcast, I want to talk about the principle of sowing and reaping on how it's actually producing what you want out of life, or if it's not producing what you want out of life. And how do we fix that? At the end of the day, you are an insurance producer, most likely. That is likely who are the people that are listening to this insurance producer podcast, because it's about insurance producers. This is not the Millionaire Account Manager podcast or the Millionaire Underwriter podcast. It's the Millionaire Insurance Producer podcast. That's where we focus. We focus our time with insurance producers, predominantly commercial producers. You're a producer. To produce, you actually have to sow a seed to eventually bring about a certain result, which means that you need to sow prospecting in order to reap new business appointments. You need to sow new business appointments in order to reap broker of record letters. You need to sow broker of record letters in order to reap commission once the policies are actually bound. See, there's so many different things that come into play when we're talking about sowing and reaping. I want to talk just for a moment now in regards to the inactivity that we might be having as sort of the norm in our lifestyle, which means that you, my friends, are not getting the result that you want out of your insurance career because the inactivity is taking up most of your schedule as a producer. Maybe you're getting bogged down with things that are non-producing activities. Then that means you're sowing nothingness and you're reaping nothingness. It would be like you're a farmer and you're spending all of this time, cutting out the furrows and you're digging deep furrows. And then rather than putting down seeds, you're putting down nothing. And then you're putting the soil back over it and you're watering it and hoping for something to happen. See, that's what happens as an illustrative standpoint when insurance producers are busy doing stuff. It just doesn't put any money in your pocket. You are sowing to the wind. I want you to think about what you have to do in order to sow the actual seeds that need to take place in order for you to reap the harvest that you want. Now, it has to do with a lot of different things. We're going to talk about prospecting here in particular. Prospecting, making cold calls, sending emails, doing social media, walk-in visits, going to meet with clients for referral opportunities, centers of influence. You might be sending out some mailers. You might do a podcast, different things like that. All the things that you can do that are prospecting activity, I want you to think of those as sowing activity. S-O-W. You are sowing the seed of activity. You have to, however, sow the right seed in order to reap what you want. If you are sowing too much time doing applications, you are going to reap an amazing amount of lack in your life when it comes to new business appointments. If you are sowing too much of your time meeting with insurance carrier representatives, you are going to sow a lack of new business opportunities. If you are sowing too much time being an account manager and doing servicing work, you are going to sow the whirlwind and not have anything written. You can be, what's interesting about this business, even as an insurance producer, is that you, my friends, can be very busy doing very busy work and making zero money from it. It's amazing how this insurance business is set up that you can do so much time and so much activity working on something and then get second place and get nothing. Nothing. Isn't that weird? That we can spend all that time working and meeting with people and gathering data and doing applications and all of that, doing all of this work and not receive a single penny for our efforts. That's a strange business to be in. I hope you're not in that business. If you're in that business, you need to get out of that business because that's not the business we're talking about on the Millionaire Insurance Producer podcast. We don't want to sow that kind of seed. That kind of seed is for second place. And the last time I checked, I can't think of any insurance carriers that pay consolation commission to the runner-up. I can't think of anybody. Second place is a loser's position. There's no commission to be made in coming in second or third. You're in last place if you're not in first place. At the end of the day, there's no commission for anybody other than first place. So we cannot spend time doing non-producing activity because that stuff does not put any money in your pocket. It doesn't. It doesn't put any money in your pocket. And you're in this business because you want to make money. This is your career. You might not trying to become filthy rich or anything like that. That's okay. You get to build what you want to build. This is why the insurance business is such a cool industry. You get to build what you want to build. So you can build, you can go after the type of business that you want. You can write the size of the accounts you want and so forth. This is a beautiful thing. But you have to build what you want to build. And I don't care what it is that you're building. All I know is that there's no material to actually build anything if nobody's meeting with you. If nobody wants to meet with you, you've got nothing to sell to anyone. You have no product and you have no potential client if there is no producing activity taking place. How many hours of a week do you spend being in the insurance business? And go ahead, I'll let you calculate that for a moment. How many hours a week in a typical week do you spend being in the insurance business? 30 hours, 32, 35, 40, 20, 45, 50, 60, whatever your number is, I want you to think about your number, the typical number of hours that you spend in the insurance business each week. This means everything that you can do in the insurance business. It's windshield time, driving to accounts. It's sitting down in your office, answering phone calls. It's checking email. It's everything you do for the insurance business. Meeting with clients for referrals, handling claims, everything. On average, how much time? This again is meeting with insurance personnel, going to lunch for them. It all takes time. How much time is actually spent being an insurance agent? Okay. And I'm usually referring to working time and not non-working time. Okay. How many hours? Let's just say it's 40 hours. Let's say you're doing 40 hours a week being an insurance producer. Now, out of that 40 hours, how many of them are you actually doing service work versus prospecting work? Again, I'll wait for you to kind of come up with an answer. Out of your 40 hours, how much of it is spent doing service type stuff? Let me put it differently. Non-prospecting type stuff versus prospecting. Service related could be, you're tracking down loss runs. You are talking to an adjuster. You're talking to an underwriter. You are talking to clients about claims. You are talking to clients about implementing some services from your 12-month timeline of services. You are talking with insurance carrier personnel. You are doing research on the internet to look at different technology for your agency and so forth. It's all it's time being spent in the insurance business. It's just not putting any new business commission in your pocket. How much time? In the typical example of 40 hours, I would say that most of the time I am hearing anywhere from 2 to 10 hours a week is spent prospecting. And that would mean that on average, you're spending, if it was 10 hours, about 2 hours a day if you have 5 hours. But it goes down to as low as two on average. And I would say there's plenty of agents out there doing zero. Like, it's interesting when I talk to insurance agents who even pay me to help them and coach them, where they say, Charles, I haven't been doing any prospecting in the last week or 2 weeks. And I think to myself, well, what are you doing? Like, what are you doing? What are you doing that you're not actually prospecting? And sometimes it's a good answer where they're working on a lot of stuff that's coming in, and so it's a lot of inbound leads, and that's fine. I get it. You know what? And from that perspective, I would say check mark. We're using that as that's good activity because you're right in business. It's not necessarily building your micro niche that you're trying to create for yourself over the course of time, but it's stuff that's actually being used fairly wisely because you're putting stuff on the books. But is it building what you want to build? And if it's not building what you want to build, then I would say it's probably not the best use of your time. It's prospecting time. It's insurance binding time, but it's not really the stuff you're trying to build. Okay. So let's just say you're somewhere in the middle there, 5 hours a week. I don't know, an hour a day. Do you spend an hour a day of prospecting? Maybe there's a fair number of listeners right now who are listening to me and say, Charles, I wish I was doing 5 hours a week. I mean, I wish I was prospecting 5 hours a week. If that's you, my friend, there's something wrong. There is something wrong, because you could be out of the office, 2-3 days out of the week, and you should still be able to find that much time to actually do prospecting. What's the issue here? It's that we don't have a desire to fulfill the obligations we need to sow in order to reap. You are happy reaping zeros. You are content with goose eggs. You are fine with having a pocket full of nada, lint, nothing. That's what's happening. You are exchanging activity that's not meaningless. It's just giving you 0 pennies instead of doing the work that will put lots of money into your bank account. I don't know if you're married. Is your spouse happy with you making no money? If you have children, do they like to eat? Do they like to have food on the table? Are any of them going to go to college? Do you have a mortgage to pay, rent? Do you have car insurance? Do you have medical health benefits? Do you like to go to a restaurant with your wife or your husband? This all requires money. All requires money. Money's not everything, but it sure is hard to pay your mortgage without money. It sure is hard to pay for your kids to go to college without money. So we need to have it. My thought here in regards to this podcast episode is that there are many of you out there who are doing a lot of work. You're just not doing the right work, and you are reaping the wind. The wind, it's like you're grasping the wind and you're getting nothing. You're getting nada. Zilch. You have a pocket full of lint, a pocket that is empty. Why? Because we tend to do stuff that makes us feel like we've done something, but it's not actually getting the result that you want. You are sowing the wrong seeds, my friend, and you are reaping the wrong result. You have to stop that nonsense, and I would say, please stop it. Stop it right now. Smack your hand. There's no need for you to continue to do that. Do something else that makes more sense. If you start to begin the process of stopping the wrong stuff and starting the right stuff, you're going to notice that you are setting more appointments. You are winning more broker of record letters. You are binding more policies and plans. You are making more money. You are making more deposits into your bank account. And you know what? As an insurance producer, coming in first place is fun. It's actually fun to win business. It's fun to win new accounts. It's fun to do that sales activity in order to win new business. That's what's fun. You're an insurance producer. You're not an account manager. You're an insurance producer. You're not an insurance sales representative. You're not a customer service person. You're not in the mail room. You're a producer. And our primary function as a producer is to prospect. to set new business appointments, to turn those new business appointments into closed business, in which we then earn a commission based upon the service that we're providing over the course of the year. This is what we do. Are you sowing the right seed in order to reap the type of harvest that you want? If you're not sowing the right seed, you're getting the wrong harvest. You need to start sowing the right things in the right time, do the right activity in order to reap the benefits that you want. That's what this particular podcast episode is about. It's just a reminder to focus on the things that matter most. Why? Because we are human and we get off track at certain times. We might start down the right track. We're on the right path, but there's just certain things that get us off track. And sometimes you just have to stop and figure out, where am I at? And how did I get here? And what am I doing right now? Are these the things that I need to do each day in order to reap the result that I want? If the answer is no, then change it. If the answer is yes, keep going, run faster, double down, make more money. This is your career. This is your life. This is your choice. Sow what you want, create a process. Do the prospecting, make the phone calls, send the emails, do the social media. If you say, I need to use social media, but I don't know how to do it, figure it out. Just figure it out. Take the time, set aside the time, figure it out, and just start doing it. Trust me when I say everything that you do from prospecting is not going to be perfect. It just needs to be done. Done is better than perfect. You can get better over the course of time. You can get better at how you're prospecting, what you're saying, the manner in which you say it. But the actual activity of doing the prospecting is what is needed in order to actually get better at your prospecting. So do the work that matters. The work that matters is sowing the right seed so that you can actually reap the result, which for us on this podcast is a $1 million or more book of business. That's what we are here talking about. That's what we're focused on. We're trying to do the right activity so you can make the amount of money that you want to in the long run. I hope, my friends, that you take this to heart, sow the right things so that you can reap the right things. My name is Charles Specht. I'm the president and CEO of Permission Network Insurance Agency, where I teach and train insurance agents just like you how to build a $1 million or more book of business. This is the Millionaire Insurance Producer Podcast.